What if your neighbor was a monster hiding in plain sight? Someone who looked ordinary, but harbored the darkest secrets imaginable. In the late 1980s and early 90s, Jeffrey Dahmer lived among us, blending in with society, until his horrifying crimes were finally exposed. This is the chilling true story of one of the most infamous serial killers in history, the Milwaukee Cannibal. Jeffrey Lionel Dahmer was born on May 21, 1960, in Bath, Ohio. From an early age, he displayed disturbing behaviors, an obsession with dead animals, dissection, and a growing fascination with decay. Teachers and classmates remember him as quiet, withdrawn, and oddly intrigued by things that made others uncomfortable. But no one could have predicted the horror he would unleash. The first murder happened in 1978, when Dahmer was just 18 years old. His victim, 19-year-old Stephen Hicks. After picking up Hicks on the road, Dahmer invited him home for drinks. But when Hicks tried to leave, Jeffrey snapped. He bludgeoned him with a dumbbell, strangled him, and later dismembered the body. This was just the beginning. For over a decade, Dahmer's appetite for murder grew. He targeted young men, lured them to his apartment, and carried out unspeakable acts. His methods became more gruesome, drugging victims, performing disturbing experiments, and even keeping body parts as trophies. His small Milwaukee apartment became a house of horrors, filled with skulls, dismembered bodies, and evidence of cannibalism. In 1992, Jeffrey Dahmer was sentenced to 16 life terms, over 900 years in prison. But justice was served sooner than expected. In 1994, he was killed by a fellow inmate in a prison bathroom. Many saw it as karma, but others questioned whether his death robbed society of a deeper understanding of the mind of a serial killer. What drives a person to commit such horrifying acts? Experts have debated Dahmer's psychological profile for decades. Was he born a monster, or did circumstances shape him into one? Diagnosed with borderline personality disorder, schizophrenia, and necrophilia, his crimes suggest a chilling mix of compulsion and cold calculation. And yet, despite his brutality, Dahmer claimed he never wanted his victims to suffer. He wanted control over them, forever. Perhaps the most haunting part of this case is how many times Jeffrey Dahmer could have been stopped. One of the most shocking failures happened in May 1991. A 14-year-old boy, Konarak Synthesophone, escaped Dahmer's apartment, drugged and bleeding. Neighbors saw him and called the police. But the officers, they didn't believe them. Instead, they returned the boy to Dahmer, believing it was just a domestic dispute. The next morning, Konarak was dead. How different would history have been if someone had acted sooner? The world was horrified when the full extent of Dahmer's crimes came to light. His story has inspired books, movies, and TV series, some aiming to educate, others accused of glorifying his brutality. Shows like Dahmer, Monster. The Jeffrey Dahmer story sparked controversy, with families of the victims speaking out against Hollywood, profiting off their pain. And yet, fascination with Dahmer remains, a chilling reminder of how true crime can blur the line between education and entertainment. Jeffrey Dahmer is gone, but the horror he left behind lingers. His case changed how police handle missing persons. It influenced laws on serial offenders, and it forced society to recognize the warning signs of dangerous individuals. But in the end, the real takeaway isn't about the monster. It's about the victims. We must remember their names, their stories, the lives stolen too soon. What do you think? Was Jeffrey Dahmer pure evil, or was there something deeper that drove his actions? Leave your thoughts in the comments, and if you want more true crime deep dives, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell icon. Stay safe and stay vigilant.